Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 79 of The Trim Show. This is your host Azir Islam, and today I'll be going over the notable news and updates in the digital marketing space from the week of October 18, 2021. Now, today we're going to first begin with Pinterest. First of all, there are rumors about Pinterest that PayPal has approached Pinterest and they're thinking of buying Pinterest out. Well, it makes sense for PayPal because, this will really help PayPal compete with Shopify. But however, that is still not an official news. That's just an unofficial news. So we are not going to dive too much into it. But if that were to happen, then Shopify will have a worthy competitor with that. Let's dive into the Pinterest announcement. So Pinterest just had their creators event this week, or actually was it last week? I think this week. So anyway, they officially announced a new thing called Watch, which is basically something similar to TikTok feature or Instagram Reels. So basically when you go into now Pinterest app, you will have the browse, which is where the feed that shows up, and then there's the watch tab where you are going to see all these Pinterest tab videos, and you can scroll through it and consume the content. The other thing Pinterest has announced is called Text, which is basically similar to what you would see in Remix for Instagram or in TikTok duets, right? There's nothing new into it, but it is what it is, right? I thought the other thing I didn't cover, but I just want to quickly mention is Instagram. Pinterest also has this thing called stickers, similar to Instagram stories, right? So like I've always covered again and again, this day and age, all these platforms, they're just busy copying one another, and that's about it because they want to keep their user base entertained and happy. With that, let's move on to Instagram. This is a great segue. So Instagram has updated their insights and added, demographic information about your audience. Of course, you need to have a professional account, but the new metrics that Instagram is adding are accounts engaged audience, reached audience. So these are actually, I think I like it. Like, again, this is where you get to go in and spend time, and you're going to see what's really happening with your account. Right. The next update from Instagram is that Instagram has added this new feature called Collabs. I've seen this. In fact, Instagram CEO Adam Mosseri, I think I'm pronouncing his last name right, actually published Reels, or was it a video? I'm not sure which one, but basically what this collab tag does is allows you to tag someone else, and basically it will say, my name is Sajid. So basically Sajid and Market and Grow. And you're going to actually see more of this in our account, because now I have my own personal account and I have our Market and Grow account. So I'm going to basically, whenever I post something, I'm going to basically cross tag each other and allow you to do that. Because in the past, the option wasn't really there. So again, keep in mind, this is, something available to everyone regardless of the audience size. It is, Collab is actually available to everyone regardless of their audience size. It's a very straightforward way to signal a professional partnership, or in my case, I have two accounts. One is my personal account, one is my business account. So I'm going to just combine the two. Thank you, Instagram. Finally, you're doing something good. Makes me happy, because I've bashed you a lot in this, in my podcast in the past. Talking about bashing, and this is another update from Instagram that I really have to go get behind and really give Instagram team the kudos. But what this update is all about is Instagram now allows you to upload photos and videos from your desktop. My God, such a relief to have this. In the past, posting on Instagram was a chore, because even if I create an image on Canva, I would transfer it to my iPhone and then upload it. And I was like, man, that sucks. It takes up time. It causes, these are speed bumps. It causes friction. It slows me down. Now I can go from the desktop browser and boom, voila, I can still do it. Again, it's still not there for Reels, but I'm hoping, Reels and stories would be added in the future, and as a way, it just makes work a lot easier. From Instagram, now let's moving on to Microsoft. So Microsoft partners with Shopify to help Shopify merchants grow business. So this is similar to what we have covered in the past a few weeks back, where Shopify and Google did partnership, and Shopify merchants can basically push their products into Google Shopping, start ads, things like that. This is a similar partnership. Nothing much sexy in there. It's just that now Shopify merchants will be able to easily reach shoppers on the Microsoft Search Network and Microsoft Audience Network with just a few clicks. That's all, right? And the other thing that I want to talk about here while I'm on the topic of Shopify is the Shopify and Spotify. Yes, the two Fis have gone into a partnership or have done an integration where basically the way it works is like artists on Spotify can now actually bring in showcase their merchants, showcase their merchandise that is on the Shopify store directly when someone is listening to their song. So in the moment, so if you are an artist A and I'm your fan, and as I am listening to your song or to your music on Spotify, I can see your merchandise show up and then be able to make the transactions right there without having to leave the app and basically make that in-moment purchase. This is actually a great thing for both the artist as well as Shopify, because Shopify is pretty good, robust when it comes to e-com, shop management in the back end. Again, I'm not really going to dive deeper into Shopify's functionality, but I'm just saying, because sometimes when we're listening an artist and we fall in love and we want to, oh man, I want to buy his or her merchandise. I want to support him or her. So that can happen right away without having to let me do it later on and things like that. Talking about e-commerce, the other thing I want to talk about is BigCommerce merchants can now list their products for free on Google. Hey, doesn't it sound similar to what Microsoft just did with Shopify and Google did with Shopify a few weeks ago? Yes. But if you are following our show, you have noticed, and I will help you just to say, the trend here now is to basically all these big platforms, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and all, to basically get all these e-com products, shops, direct to consumers, businesses on their platforms and have that, have that inventory. Right, have that inventory available. This is a big, I guess I would say a big threat for Amazon per se, if you were to ask me. But for other platforms, so Google wants if Google, if I'm searching on Google, I should be able to have that inventory rather than having to not find it and then go to Amazon or go to Shopify. Shopify doesn't want the same thing. Shopify wants everything to be found on Shopify.com or whatever that site is. And Microsoft does the same thing. So coming back, again, the BigCommerce merchants and Google integration is pretty much the same thing as we just covered with Shopify. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I just wanted to let you know that, this is possible. So if you have a client or if you're thinking of moving into BigCommerce, then, you can just push your product into Google Shopping very easily. Okay. Next up is Google is rebrands and launches Google for Creators platform. Just last week, we talked about creators, and we saw how, Twitter is courting creators, Instagram is courting creators, Snapchat is courting creators, and it's just like, on one hand, it's e-commerce, the other hand is creators. It's like they are the two things that are ruling this, social media world, and the battle is on to see who can get the most amount of creators on their side, plus who can get the most amount of product listed on their platform. That's it, folks. Anyway, with that, what Google for Creator is pretty much a very good resource to help you learn the essentials, build your content strategy, engage and find fans, and grow and make money. Now, this is coming from Google itself. So, definitely it's worth checking it out to see what Google suggests you do that. But I will give you a caution that, since it's coming from Google, it will be Google biased. So take it with a grain of salt, and make sure that you just don't drink the Kool-Aid and just jump right into what this is what Google says. Apply and see where it helps you with your business, right? Especially if you're a creator. With that, the next update we have is on YouTube, and YouTube announces live shopping. Just last week, we covered how Facebook is going to do live shopping, and Facebook has done that. But live shopping is something that's taking off. In fact, I will tell you, in one of the shows in the past, I have actually bashed live shopping, saying, who in their right mind is going to sit down during the weekday and watch live shopping. But apparently, the data that's coming out of China is that live commerce is on track to become a 423 billion with a B market by the end of next year. Holy moly, guacamole, $423 billion market in China. And that explains why Instagram is into it, TikTok is into it, and now YouTube is jumping into it, right? But I wanted you to know all these things because, if you have client, or if you're thinking of, if you have an e-com, maybe this is something you can take advantage of in the future, if not right now. The next update coming from YouTube is that YouTube adds auto chapters as a search element. So what this means is that, when YouTube, obviously you have an option to turn on chapters on YouTube videos. And when you turn it on, and, YouTube or Google search is going to basically can respond to a search query and take that searcher directly into that chapter of your video. Right. So if someone's searching for, let's just say, keto diet using, coconut, maybe. I'm just making things up as I go along. So keto diet, coconut, and you have a video on keto diets, and then there's a chapter called coconuts on keto diet. Then chances are it's going to take that searcher, it's going to show that segment of the video, and it's going to take the searcher right into it. Now, keep in mind, this is not a signal that you should start putting chapter names that are, full of, big words and just blow it up. Keep it real, keep it subjective, be it helpful. I'm sure, excuse me, I'm sure Google is going to basically figure out if you're trying to do keyword stuffing and then eventually penalize you. So stay away from it. Just be real, and I'm sure Google is gonna give you I'm blanking out. Google is gonna give you the reward by directing some free traffic to your video and thereby increasing your view count. Okay, last up, we have earnings from Snapchat. This was, I believe, Snapchat released their earnings on Thursday after hours. Yes, and their stock took a hit because they missed their numbers, Q3 numbers. This was a full... Snapchat is blaming it on Apple's iOS privacy because they're saying they took a hit because of Apple's privacy. They're still learning. They're planning to make $1.1 billion. Instead, they made $1.07 billion in Q3, which is basically a short by about $72 million. Nevertheless, it's a big quarter. They did pretty good. $72 million in a billion, and when they're making $1 billion, I don't think it's a big make or break things. But Wall Street definitely reacted very negatively, and their stock price went down by 23%. However, this is not a show about stock prices, finances, and investing. It is a show about marketing. I wanted to talk about the marketing angle, which is, they have now, Snapchat is reporting they have 306 million daily active users. That's up from 293 million daily active users in Q2. So if you do the math, that's about 13 million daily active users that have been added into Snapchat platform. Snapchat platform continues to grow. Yes, they took a hit because of Apple's privacy changes. Facebook also warned that, they're going to take a big hit. But, Snapchat's saying, and so are all the other platforms saying, we're going to figure it out. We are going to find a way around it because, of course they will, because it's $1 billion business, right? Multi-billion-dollar business. They are not going to give it into Apple. They're going to find things. In fact, Facebook came out this week with some workarounds to Apple's privacy mechanism and how to measure and do attribution, things like that. However, we are not. I am purposely not covering that in our podcast. It's just because it's very technical, and it's going to be very challenging to explain it over a podcast. Okay. With that, folks, that's it for this week in marketing. Now you know everything to be in the know. If you'd like to read more, make sure you visit our show page where you will find the links to the articles. Once again, this is your host, Aziz Islam, signing off until next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in this week. It was a pleasure to serve you all. Hit the subscribe button so that you remember to sign on next week. Same place, same time for another round of This Week in Marketing.